How am I? I'm great.
Today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm glad to be here celebrating this show.
And what did it feel like playing this role, and not only playing this role and tapping into this series, but being like the star key character? Like, what was that experience like?
Well, you know what? I think it's such an ensemble.
Yeah.
I know, I do have the privilege of being the guy who's sort of the center point of it.
Yes.
But it is really just an amazing ensemble. So many amazing actors. Like, just everyone is at the top of their game, and we all really kind of just got on so well. We became a real family, and I mean that. You know, it's not. It's like we genuinely love each other so much. So it's that was really the joy of it for me.
And speaking of this cast and this ensemble and working on this project with these amazing individuals, like, what would you say are some of the key takeaways that you would carry with you into the next project that you tap into?
You know, it's just it's hard because when you have something like this where you have an ensemble that really get on this well, it's kind of an alchemy that you don't know if you can ever repeat it again.
Yeah.
It just so happens that it was cast really well by, you know, Nina Gold, who's our great casting director, and who knows if you'd be lucky to walk into a job and that be the case again.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about having respect for each other and believing that we're all there to make this thing as good as it can be.
Yeah.
Because that's how I felt.
And you played a role, your character role is Daniel. Like, what is it that the viewers and the fans can expect to see with, you know, Daniel throughout every episode? Just like a little tease.
I think Daniel is like continuing to keep everything running, keep things together as they kind of really just start to spiral out of control. But he also has some ambitions of his own. Yeah. And they start to kind of creep out a little bit, and that's interesting.
Have you always been into comedy? Like, has that always been like a passionate, like, love?
I've always loved comedy, and actually, you know, to be doing a show like this where the showrunner is John Brown, who has written on some of the most seminal comedy shows in the UK for years, and Armando Iannucci is one of our exec producers. Of course, we know him in the US from Veep, but he has been so influential on British comedy from before I was born. Yeah. He is like, you know, he's I mean, he's one of the people who's defined what I find funny, because that was what I grew up on. So, you know, it's such a privilege to work with this team.
And before I let you go, what is your favorite comedy of all time? Whether it be a series, a movie, a film?
My favorite comedy of all time. I mean, it's different. TV series, film, I find it different. TV series, I might go with The Thick of It, and that's like one of Armando's shows, but it's genuinely. It was a game changer of a show for me. It kind of redefined what I thought was funny. Between that and Peep Show, which John worked on. So as I say, they defined what I find funny, and so to be making the show with them is amazing. Film-wise, I mean,
give me something.
I'm gonna go like Blazing Saddles is one that I always go back to. I think it's it's so ahead of its time. Yeah. I watched it again recently. You know, there's a few things here and there where you go, we wouldn't do that today, but in terms of the context of what it's trying to say, it's kind of depressingly still very relevant. So I love that movie.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you. Thanks.
You look stunning.
Thank you so much.
So talk to me about being a part of this project. Like, what did it feel like for you to really peel back the different layers of your character?
Well, I suppose what I really enjoyed was the chance to play somebody who was not in a costume per se. You know, Steph's very sort of like invisible, really. Nobody's looking at her. Nobody cares what she looks like. They just want her to be good at her job. So really my focus was trying to kind of, you know, think about somebody who is just always focused on what is going on. She's not really thinking about herself in that way. And that's quite nice. You know, that sort of sense of freedom to just wear really, really kind of like comfortable clothes and just sort of be a bit invisible, I guess.
And when it comes to like that personal relatability, in what ways do you feel like you personally connected with Steph?
I suppose there's sort of time. I mean, script supervisors can be quite odd, you know, because they're kind of like in departments on their own, you know. I suppose she's quite eccentric in some ways and a bit kind of like a bit of an oddball, and in that way I suppose I can relate to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's you know, I think she's really, really focused on making sure that Eric can make the film he wants. You know, that's part of her identity, is wanting to be able to say, okay, this is the best film that we can make, I suppose. She's kind of married to her job, I think.
And when it comes to like comparing this project to others that you've worked on throughout your career, like in what ways would you say this comedy series measures up to other opportunities that you've taken on?
Well, this has been an incredible experience, you know, because this has been, you know, this kind of experience is an unusual one for me. You know, like this is not this is not my, you know, natural habitat. I mean, I'm a British actor, comedian, and this is Hollywood. So you know, this is a fabulous experience. It's a different world. Coming here, being here has been amazing. You know, just to be just in this town, to be launching the show in this way feels like a gift. You know, and to be meeting, you know, so many lovely people has been pretty amazing, really.
And before I let you go, what is your favorite comedy of all time?
Favorite comedy anything? Whoa, that's a very, 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 very difficult question. Wow.
Or maybe what about?
Okay. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Favorite comedian? Is that easier?
I would have to say Richard Pryor. Yeah, I would have to say Richard Pryor. Yeah, because he was the best. I mean, there's no one better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with me. Thank you. You are bringing all the energy throughout this series. Your character is so layered, you know, yet so extremely adaptable.
Yes.
And you just like literally came in ready to hit the ground running, like, I can move and shake in whatever direction I'm pulled in. Talk to me about really, you know, delving into and living in your character and bringing her to life.
I think in the pilot episode, Dag is kind of thrown in at the deep end and has to adapt very quickly to all of the chaos around her. But what was quite fun is that, like, very quickly she does learn the ropes and is kind of unflappable. She's kind of the person who is so confident and so like believes in herself so much that she is kind of perfect for being on a set because things are crumbling around her and she's kind of always herself. So that's a very fun character to play. I mean, yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode, like scene, script that?
I think my favorite episode is the Armenia episode. I think everything that happens in that episode is hilarious and also realistic. And definitely the end of that episode and what unfolds and Dag's decision making and what happens as a result of that decision making is very fun to watch, I think.
If there were 2 to 3 things that you would like for the world once this series premieres and the fans to gain from your character in particular, like what would those 2 to 3 things be?
I think I would love for people to appreciate how much work goes into making superhero films and also all cinema and television. I think it's good to shine a light on those people who often don't get the thanks and get the glory, especially people like ADs who I think people won't necessarily know what they do and are some of the most hard-working people on sets. And hopefully it inspires people to become ADs and like still work on sets even though there is chaos happening all the time.
And before I let you go, I want you to take me back to shining a light. What did this entire process look like for you landing this, you know, role in this character? Like, was it the traditional, you know, tryout, audition type process, or did things like like shape up a little different for you?
Yeah, I did a self-tape for the part and had a Zoom with Sam Mendes, which was obviously not scary at all and a very normal thing in my life.
Yeah.
And then we did a read-through and then I got the part and I was actually on the way to having a sort of Christmas cocktail with one of my best friends.
Oh my
and
God.
then in the car on the way there I found out that I got the part. And so we
Did
got
you
to
just like scream?
Yeah.
Did you double down on a cocktail?
Pretty much, yeah. We had some martinis that night.
I love it. Favorite comedy of all time?
Probably favorite comedy of all time, Arrested Development, I think.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
like that. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
Congratulations on everything, and I'm excited for the world to see this series.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So talk to me. What was it like being a part of this project? Like, take me back, bring me forward.
Heaven. I come from a comedy desert called Germany.
Okay.
We're not, famous for being funny.
Yeah.
So I've been waiting probably 26 years since if I'm thinking back of, when I started, never ever did I receive such an offer, in my home country. Because it just doesn't exist.
Right.
So being invited to a wedding such a fun wedding between, the best of two comedy worlds, US and England, and having people coming from film, TV, theater, Broadway, stand-up comedy was such a pleasure and such a gift, to be dancing and sparring with these people was incredible. And then having these masterminds behind it, like as in Sam Mendes and Armando Iannucci and John Brown, was heaven.
Oh my God. And what have you done to sit in this? And when I say sit, I mean like really live in a moment, really take it in, suck it in, like this really has happened. Like 26 years, that's a long time. That's almost like 3 decades. That's insanity.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do and like what have you done to really like live in this moment?
Well, I've had my experiences before in the franchise world universe, but it wasn't necessarily Marvel that I used as a reference point because that was a very well-oiled machine and I got treated very well, so I couldn't complain about anything really. They were wonderful to me, but there was one film that I did that was a total disaster. It was a shit show from the day one when I arrived.
Oh my God.
And when you feel that, you know that there's no way to get it right. It's just, And of course, because always also when there's a lot of money involved, and it was so sad because I felt so much for the director because it wasn't his fault. It was just a dysfunction, ill communication. It was just nothing was right. And then you still have to go back every day. And I remember my miserable face living here around the corner. We actually shot it here.
Get out of town.
Right here. So it's nice to be doing this tonight here, and something that I'm really proud of, and I'm not lying, because we always say the same things. Oh, it was so great, and we love each other. But in this case, we really did. I mean, look at all these wonderful people. Honestly, and it's such a great cast that I cannot thank enough the casting director, Nina Gold, for that, because also we come from, all of us, from so different places, but it became that fantastic group that even in the time in between takes, there's a lot of shows where normally the actors always disappear in the trailer and then you meet them. And we were always hanging around together.
It's like a family.
Yeah. And I mean it. It's not like the typical bullshit that you just like.
Before I let you go, talk to me about the learning curve. Like, what did that learning curve look like for you to, really bring out your character? Your learning curve.
Yeah. Again, it was that one very peculiar experience that I had on a franchise movie. Then it helped me that I had directed a film myself. So I've been through this, and I at least once felt what it means to be the captain of the ship, and to be responsible for all of it, So the tons of questions and the obstacles and the fear and so and having that vision and being so hurt when there was a problem, that was standing in the way. way, of your vision. So I deeply felt for the character that I'm playing.
Do you have a favorite comedian or comedy of all time?
It would be classics. All About Eve is a film that I could watch over and over again. It's an absolute flawless classic. And then also when you think back in the days, in the very early days, there were the funny Germans who unfortunately had to leave Germany. So if I think of a film like To Be or Not to Be, I would say that this is probably also, again, a masterpiece and an absolute flawless comedy. There's not one mistake.
I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Congratulations. So I want you to talk to me about your...
Yes, what you want to talk about?
It is a comedy series.
Yes.
And we are already laughing. But I want you to talk to me about this project, being a part of this cast, working with these executive producers, directors, showrunners, the list goes on. Like, what has this entire experience been like for you?
The entire experience has been a gift. I think this industry sometimes takes itself too serious, and this was an opportunity to laugh at ourselves. And I hope that's what's really taken from it.
What is it that you really hope the world, the viewers, and the fans get from not only your character, but this, project in general?
Oh, well, at the end of the day, our show is a workplace comedy. It just happens to be on a superhero set, and I truly believe everyone tries their best. It's like even in your industry, everyone's trying their best, and sometimes it's just a fucking trash fire, and you have to deal with it. And it's just, again, a community of people that you fall in love with and you spend some time with and be like, oh, I'm rooting for them, even though it's a hard industry.
And I've been fortunate enough to see this project already, and I feel like we don't have anything really out there yet that sizes up or comes close to this particular series.
Really?
Like, I personally don't think so. Like, what is it that you feel, the franchise is bringing to television that is missing? If you can think
Hey, Pat! What's up, dude? So that's Patrick Somerville. He created Station 11. Did you see Patrick Somerville?
Yeah, I've heard of Patrick Somerville.
Yeah, we both did a Patrick Somerville show. Yeah. What was the question? So sorry.
What do you feel like? No, it's perfectly fine. We're on a red carpet. Things happen.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the franchise is bringing to television right now that is missing?
I think everything has become so... we've been put everything under a microscope and defining everything and where you go. Again, we're just people. We're allowed to laugh at ourselves. Where is that humor? That it's disappeared. We're just so critical of everyone instead of being like, oh no, I sympathize with someone. We don't give grace to people. So I hope this gives space for people to go like, oh, we really are all trying our hardest.
Why do you think everybody's so freaking uptight in this world? Like, because honestly, I 1000% agree with you. Like, I just feel like everyone needs to really take a load off. Like, what do you feel like?
I think people are scared. We're scared to be honest and authentic with ourselves.
Yeah.
And even that can be funny.
I agree.
It's okay. It's okay. But I think it's all people are scared of telling themselves their own truth, and that being enough. And you're enough. You're just enough.
I like that. Before I let you go, what is your favorite comedy of all time?
Life.
Listen, you are like my best friend.
I love. We can hang out anytime you want.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. I love your face.
Oh, thank you. So talk to me about this entire experience and what has it been like being a part of this comedy series for you?
Well, from the get-go, I was so excited to just be working with Armando and Sam and John Brown. I was a huge Succession fan. I signed on without even having a script. I said yes. I was thrilled to I just knew it was going to be fantastic. Sam comes from the theater, I come to the theater, we speak the same language, being directed with it by him was wonderful, and I just adored everyone on set.
What does Pat bring into the screen? What is it that the viewers
Alpha
can
male
expect?
energy, just swagger, and someone who in this day and age honestly might get fired for some of the things he says, but it's a TV show. So,
yeah, this is true. This is true. If you were able to switch characters with any of your cast members, like who would you switch characters with?
Daniel Scott, the director, just like that looked like a lot of fun to shoot that role.
Okay.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite comedy of all times or favorite comedian?
Ooh, I love Gervais. I love British comedy. I love Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
I love Ali G. I mean, I'm a big Jerry Seinfeld fan. I love that. He's American, of course. Those are my lodestars.
And before I let you go, although this is humor, it's laughter, it's a free-spirited type of, project. Like, what were some of the challenges that you faced personally, really bringing your character to life?
Well, first of all, let's do a challenge of just being away from my family for 4 months. I'm in New York, they're in London, so I have to come, and it was very hard being away from them. My 2 boys, and but as far as getting into my character, kind of like looking into people's eyes and being truly intense and not very pleasant. But that's, who am I kidding? I love doing that.
Oh my God, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, it's nice to meet you too.